Alright, guys, so me and Charlie are here. We're going to go ahead and do a Zeah themed podcast, just going over pretty much everything that has to do with Zeah and just kind of leaving suggestions and stuff like that for how to make some of the content a little bit better. My name is Krausian Game. I'm an avid Redditor and I have 2070 total level. I'm not really going for max, just playing the game as I enjoy it. And Charlie, you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Charlie V Weston Game. Uh, I go on Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, really first in all of my viewings, and play RuneScape. I have a Zerker account, and yeah, production, I guess.
Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to talk about is Corinne and the actual the statue of Corinne or whatever, Great Corinne, that area. Did you see the statue that was on stream when they were designing it, like the really big one?
Yeah, had like a tunnel coming out of the middle of it, a wolf over the shoulder or something.
Yeah. So, what was your thought on that statue?
Um, it looked good, but I feel like I felt like it'd be hard to put in the game. I guess that's what happened overall with it. It was just too hard to put in the game.
Yeah. So, at first when I saw it, because that was the first thing I wanted to see, and I have that video on my YouTube channel where I was like super upset. Um, but Ghost came out later and basically said that it wasn't possible to put in the game because of engine restrictions, which is why they didn't put it in. So that kind of sucks. Um, but at the same time, with regards to the statue, Corinne was supposed to be a city originally, and the city was supposed to have walls that separated each family. And this was going to play a role in the way that the favor system worked on Zeah because if you're in a center city and that's the only way to access all the families, then if you go into House Arceus, then all the other families would clearly see you go into House Arceus, and so that's how the favor system kind of made sense, I guess. Because right now the favor system doesn't really make sense at all because on the plaque it says they work together. So I don't know. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on that, generally speaking.
Yeah, I feel like they completely scrapped that system. Like, I don't know why they didn't put walls in between if they actually had that idea, because it wouldn't be that difficult to do. During they have wall models and everything like that, but no, they scrapped the city of Corian being really a city. So, I don't know what they're going with that.
My biggest issue with it is not necessarily that it's just a statue there. It's just the idea that the favor system of Zeah was pretty much revolved around the idea that there's this one great city in the middle of everything, and that's the only way to access all of these other families. And because of this, like the king, he made the walls so that his children wouldn't fight over the land, and so when you join one family, the others don't like you because they all don't like each other. But there's no reason that all these families, if they're working together, wouldn't let you come in and help everybody to your max potential. So it just kind of throws off the whole idea behind Zeah, in my opinion, which really kind of it doesn't necessarily kill immersion because it's not really about immersion. It's just about how Zeah was supposed to be created and why it worked the way it did, and then they just completely threw it out for some reason.
Yeah, they posted like a dev blog basic. It's like saying they posted a dev blog for it and they completely did the opposite of what they said. Like, we were getting ready for a city that was in the middle of everything. And you could change your alliances, but it wasn't like that at all. Well, it still works, I guess, but it wasn't what we wanted or what they said they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, it still kind of works, but like as I mentioned, it doesn't really make sense that if they're working together to benefit each other, why wouldn't they let some random guy come into all of their families and like help everybody to the max potential? Because that would in turn help the whole area of Corinne. So I don't know. It kind of
Yeah, because the
bothers me.
statue says that they're working together.
Yeah. And again, like I haven't read any of the books yet. I've read like one of them, but it didn't really mention anything. Um, but so the books might have stuff in it, but I kind of doubt it. Especially if the plaque on the big old statue in the middle of everything says, this is our great land. We work together in peace and all this other stuff. So, it is.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, because of that, let's get into a discussion about the favor system in general. So, my idea is I don't see why there should be a favor system because of the fact that the original idea behind Zeah was completely scrapped. I think it could have been cool, like a lot cooler if it made sense, but it doesn't really make sense as it is right now. So it just kind of throws me off. I just really don't like it.
yeah. There could be a favor system like Kingdom of Miscellanea or whatever the hell it's called. How you need to like keep your approval up in each house so you can use all their facilities or whatever. And that might be a decent idea instead of just giving you free reign over all the content just out of nowhere. Might be okay to have some level restriction. I mean, not level restrictions, but time restrictions behind some of the content, but only unlockable once. Just keeping it that plateau instead of having to like redo it all the time.
Yeah, I think a system similar to Kingdom of Miscellanea would work really well like in Corinne. But I think the one they have right now, it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it's extremely like demotivating to join different families.
Limit limiting.
Yeah, it's extremely limiting. So, um, I think something similar to, as you said, the Kingdom of Miscellanea would work a lot better for Zeah, not only lore wise, but um, just general like mechanic. Like it would just make it a lot more enjoyable, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to go between rune crafting and fishing with angler fish, it's gonna be like I don't know 6 hours just so you can fish the crappy fish, and then you have to get your favor back for Arceus. Once you want to runecraft again, that's another 2 hours.
Well,
So it just seems like a lot of running in circles.
you can actually get 100% favor in both Arceus and Piscarius and keep it.
At the same time.
Yeah, unless
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you can.
if you
Are they only for neighbors?
yeah, it's for
Like
neighbors, but I don't know if the process is involved in rune crafting or if the process is involved in fishing, if any of those gain you favor, so you might not be able to actually just bounce between them that easily. But you can have 100% favor at the same time in both houses. I know that for a fact.
maybe that wasn't the best example, but maybe uh, farming, the mini game, or lizard men once they get buffed.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I think a lot of people can just generally agree that the current system's really kind of dumb, basically, and something similar to Kingdom of Miscellanea would probably work a lot better. Even if it still took maybe a few hours to gain your approval, I think that would be a lot more acceptable than losing favor and all this other stuff. So, all right. So while we're talking about the general feel of Zeah, I guess we should talk about a few things dealing with how the continent is kind of shaped, I guess, and how it flows. The first one was a Reddit post where somebody mentioned that Zeah doesn't flow very well and it doesn't look very organic, so to speak. So they went ahead and added a bunch of land to make it look more like a continent and not like the square that it is now, even though the continent isn't completed. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it does look better with that, but it's kind of just wasted development area. It doesn't look like you can actually go there, or would they actually put things on that new area?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too I would assume like most of that brown area that you can see is probably not able to be walked on, but even so, I feel like it would be worth the development time to just make the map feel more like it's supposed to be there, because in its current state, it kind of feels forced a little bit. And again, I know we haven't seen all of Zeah and
Yeah,
what
they
it
should
has to
blend.
offer. So what are you saying?
Like, I feel like they should blend together better, not just have complete cutoffs of the land, like what the land looks like, and the edges are kind of boring. They're squared up, and I don't know, there's a bay, I guess, but it really all kind of matches except Piscarillis, which is kind of just stuck in there. But I don't know, add some kind of variety to it. Have mountains somewhere, like I don't know, make it look more like the RuneScape map instead of whatever it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a like it would be a lot of time to map it out like that, but I think it's worth it because right now it feels like 4 blocks and then you have Piscarillis where you arrive on Zeah. Like yeah, that's honestly what it feels like to me, and it just feels like a lot of the things. It just feels kind of like forced, I guess, or rushed, basically.
Yeah, I feel like the layout doesn't really fit well. It's just kind of like I don't know. It's placed kind of I don't know predetermined. Like it doesn't seem really organic, honestly.
Yeah, so I think
You can tell they kind of just mapped it out real quick and wanted to place things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I really think if they took the time to do that, it would be worthwhile. Because now they're gonna have to build on what they currently have, and the truth is like they really don't have much. Like there's no exit. Like okay, for example, there's raids that are planned, and then there's the Winter Todd boss, which is the skilling boss, and the Winter Todd boss can probably be fit in pretty easily up north, but I don't see how they're gonna fit in raids with the current state of like where House Shazian meets House Lovaking. I just like I really don't see it because they're gonna have to redo something. I mean I don't know. It just feels so just awkward to look at.
Yeah, it's just really jam packed full of stuff, but there's like nothing there. Just filler crap that doesn't really like go with anything. Like the teeth farm is absolutely massive. So is the housing at Shazier, but you don't really need like that much stuff there. Does nothing honestly.
Yeah,
Like I could see for the mini game, but it seems kind of excessive.
yeah. One of my
Like
things
maybe put it in an instanced area, like not on the land.
Yeah, one of my things is like for House Shazian at the infirmaries, those things are massive and they only hold like 6 people each floor. Like that's so ridiculous. Like there's no reason they should be that big. Like there's no reason at all.
Yeah, everything's just scaled up to like bigger and like take up more space just because they don't have very much stuff to put in that space. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Seems really rushed.
I feel I do like what they did with size. Like that was really cool. Like Piscarius has some cool things. Design wise, like the ladders are super thick. It just kind of like it feels cool, I guess. The buildings, the way they're designed graphically, they feel really cool. But Piscarius is a great example where the graphics look really freaking awesome. Like I really enjoy them. but the house itself is so empty. There's no content there. There's literally there's the fishing area, and then the I don't even know what that big dock thing is. And there's that. But then every other house in Piscarillius, which is a lot of houses, they're filled with the same like poor looking man, looking woman, and then there's the guards or whatever. And they all say the same exact thing. They all look exactly the same. Like there's no individuality, or it just feels so like I don't know. It looks great, but the way it feels when you're walking around it, I don't. It just it kind of it's just so it just feels weird and unnatural.
Yeah. I don't really know how to describe it besides that. Like, can't think of the word. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel mapped right.
It feels uncomfortable because you're walking around in this area that like it's a new area. It looks amazing, like undiscovered territory. This is incredible. But then you talk to NPCs or you just even see NPCs and they're all the same in this giant area. Like it's really uncomfortable. It doesn't flow very well. I think I think there's a lot of work to be done on Zeah. Saying that they probably won't do work on it, but I think there's a lot of potential for Zeah if they did, take the time to push forward with development on it. I think they really kind of messed up by rushing it so hard.
Yeah, they need more like things that you have on the actual continent, like resource pickup things, white berries and red spider eggs and nape grass and stuff like that. Maybe add something new. Um, maybe some transportation things going around, like maybe you can take a ship like from Piscarillis down to the coal burners or something, so you don't have to run all the way down there if you don't have a teleport. Um, I don't know, just flesh it out with some unique things instead of copy and paste farm. Here's a prayer altar, like random building with a person in it. I don't know. Give that person a storyline behind them or something like that. Make it
Yeah,
feel more like RuneScape instead of random land.
yeah. I mean, not even necessarily like we don't need full backstories on NPCs, but it would be nice to talk to an NPC and they all say something different at least. Like at the very least, I feel like that's not asking too much, honestly. But regarding the unnatural kind of flow of Zeah, somebody had posted on Reddit an idea for House Shazian, and it was the Karen Gatehouse's ramparts and causeway post. And I really enjoy it, mostly because when you think about it, House Shazian, there's just like a pit of lizard men, but there's no way for them to get in there, so they're just spawning unnaturally, if that makes any sense. It kind of feels like a Neve's Cave, basically, where you have like a bunch of monsters in one area, but no necessarily like a backstory on how they got there, and they continuously just get there even though you keep killing them, so it kind of feels unnatural in that way. But this post basically made it so a little bit west of um, the gates, well, a little bit west of the lizard pit is like a two gates, and then the lizardmen spawn, and then they run east. And I don't know, the way it's designed, it just again makes it feel more natural, and it just makes sense a lot more because right now you just have like a pit of lizardmen that constantly spawn and never go away. Like it just I don't know, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I think it looks good, honestly. Um, just adding more things like this, the landscape really adds to it, but it takes away from the original lore of the cities being completely separated, you know?
What do you mean?
You're gonna have to pick which way they go on the lore.
Do you mean the causeway or whatever you want to call this gate of the gates of Kourend? You think that takes away from the houses being separated and puts them together more a little bit.
Well, there's like walkways like completely between it. I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about the map?
Like it's making travel freer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I don't know. I don't think it would be a bad thing to make it to where all the families are working together and this is like their great city and they're helping basically like, you have Piscarius supplying food to Hasidius, which cooks it for House Shazian, for example, and then House Shazian is defending everybody from
Yeah,
lizardmen.
exactly, exactly.
And then you have House King, which is making the armor for House Shazian. So I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, but they definitely do need to decide which way they're going with it, because like right now it's kind of both ways depending on where you're looking. It's kind of
Yeah, it like
weird.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I think they definitely need to like pick a side and then go with that, and then develop the land based on that. Because right now it feels like the houses are separated because there's no walkways to any of the houses. Like I don't know. It feels so unnatural.
Yeah, it's just like there's a random line of trees that you can't get through, and that separates the houses, and it's just like, yeah, or, or like a little small line of mountains that separates them. It's strange,
Yeah,
natural.
but then you have like a walkway from Shazian to Lovakinj, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, there's definitely some things they can improve on. We can agree with that. Hopefully they do, and hopefully they flesh out Zaya a little bit more in the times to come. While we're on the layout of Zaya, how do you feel about all the teleports? Do you think there's enough to get around? I think, as you mentioned, like the boats would be a really good idea to go to the charcoal burners from Piscarius. But do you think there's anything else that needs to be
Yeah.
added, or do you think it's generally like there's enough teleports to and around Zaya?
Um, I feel like it's pretty good, honestly. Just maybe some walkways between some of the places, or shortcuts or something like agility shortcuts or grapples. Some way to get between them so it doesn't take forever to run around or you have to use a teleport. Um, Besides that, it seems pretty good. You have a teleport to each region and you unlock. So good with me.
Yeah, I mean, I made the video on all the Zaya teleports, and looking at it, there's plenty of teleports in my opinion. I do think they should, because again, like they made the land so expansive. So when you're running around, it's like you're running around. You notice that you're running around. So as you mentioned, like I think maybe a few carts here and there might do like a cart that goes from maybe the bottom of Hasidius to the top. Like that wouldn't be too bad. Maybe it costs like 60 GP or something. A boat that can travel around Zaya would be a good idea. And then other than that, I think a lot of the teleports are. I think there's plenty of them. One thing I would mention is the minigame teleport. I think it should not, because apparently you have to be on Zaya to use it, which makes no sense in my opinion.
That's pretty stupid.
So I think they should just fix that. And otherwise, I think there's plenty of teleports around Zaya, and I don't see an issue with getting around Zaya. I kind of enjoy the fact that you have to walk around a little bit more than just a teleport to every major location. So, so now we're gonna get into the families and just kind of discuss what they have to offer, if ideas for future content and stuff. The first house is Arceus. We're gonna talk about the rune crafting methods first. Do you have any like criticisms of it, or are you generally okay with it?
I'm generally okay with it. Like it's a good balance. We voted it in. Kind of crashing the prices of blood runes and soul runes just because they're kind of useless right now. But I feel like once people catch on to necromancy, or if it gets updated, it'll kind of balance it out. But yeah, other than that, I think it's good.
I think it's fine. I'm still kind of torn on it just because like it kind of changed how you train runecrafting a little bit, in my opinion. Like runecrafting was always like a shitty skill basically, and so with Zeah it made it like a less shitty skill, which kind of feels like it kind of changed how it just changed the skill in my opinion. So it kind of feels uncomfortable, but I think overall it's fine. I think it could use maybe a few more adjustments, maybe lower XP per hour, or a less AFK mining process. But I think I'm pretty content with it as well. I think it's okay.
I feel like it's basically a rune crafting motherlode mine for what mining was. Because mining was super quick intensive. There was no AFK from any part of mining. Then motherlode mine came along and gave you a decently AFK alternative with big profit. So I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it could use maybe like a little bit lower XP per hour, not too much, because it should still be kind of worth doing. But I don't know. I think it's fine. Next up is necromancy. So we kind of discussed this on the dev blog video podcast, but do you think there's any other spells that you didn't mention on there that would be useful?
Maybe some sort of combat spell. I don't know what it could be used for, but some different thing that could be used for magic DPS on the spellbook.
In my opinion, um, so we already have the teleports that are coming to necromancy, which is good, and then they have a few skilling spells which are possibly coming. At least they're gonna be pulled, which is good. I think necromancy should be alongside a way to train prayer, a way to, as you said, like a combat method. So maybe you get an abyssal head drop or on task, and you revive that, and it fights at your side, but you can choose to kill it for prayer XP if you want to. I think that would be like a good alternative because I know like when we originally were discussing necromancy, a lot of people essentially assumed it would be a form of summoning, and not too many people had an issue with that because it wasn't going to be like overpowered. Like it wasn't going to change basically how combat worked in old school. So I think if necromancy alongside being a prayer training method, if it was also a combat assistant, I think that would really do necromancy a lot of good.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of stepping into summoning territory, and people don't really like that. Even though I would love to have summoning, but having like 10 or 12 follower little things that help you on Slayer tasks is kind of iffy.
Well, I was thinking just like one at a time maybe. I mean, they wouldn't do much DPS anyways, and maybe it could be like a tank for you on task or something. Just kind of like I don't know. I think it would be cool to play around with, and I'm kind of upset that they didn't do it, and it's because they were scared that the community didn't like summoning, but we've never had any like actual empirical data on how many people like summoning and how many people don't, or what exactly the community would change about it. So um, I think it's a possibility if the mods cared enough to ask us, basically.
But yeah, I feel like they should work on more of a Slayer centric spellbook with it. Because most people use Lunars for Slayer right now, and that's basically for farming and NPC contact. So maybe give it an NPC contact thing. You already have it for um, the dead herb thing that's going to come in. That kind of replaces geomancy. Um, might need a decent teleport for farming for Artie. And besides that, no, I don't know what else it would need. They could really keep it balanced and give people an incentive to use it.
Yeah, I think a Slayer themed spellbook would be really cool, and I think Necromancy can definitely fill that gap. I know for a fact I don't use NPC contact anymore because I just use the Karajma gloves and go straight to Duradel. Um, I don't know why, I just do. And I've just been doing it, so I know definitely if Necromancy was a book that really like assisted you during Slayer, then I would definitely use it because I have no real need to use Lunars. I'm really only on it right now because of rune crafting for lavas, and once I'm done with that, I highly doubt I'll stay on Lunars because I don't farm right now, so there's no need for me to be on Lunars.
Yeah, maybe a fertile soil, some sort of fertile soil thing. Like you can collect bones, use that for fertile soil. But I don't know. It's up to suggestions, I guess.
Yeah, maybe like a spell that kind of like goes into the ground and like finds bones basically, and then uses that for compost, and like it would make sense that way. Like I guess like dead bodies or something in the ground, and then use that to nourish the ground.
Yeah,
Because
like
that's kind of the idea behind necromancy is that you're using like these really dark themed spells, but it's to your benefit. So like using the bones of dead things in the ground to benefit your crops, like that makes sense in the theme of necromancy. So I think they could they could work something out easily if they really wanted to, and I hope they don't stop with just the teleports and the two
yeah,
skilling spells.
yeah, 'cause that's really not enough for people to use it, in my opinion. Actually have it on the spell book all the time, unless they're doing necromancy for a little bit at the Dark Altar, or if they're converting wines or something.
Yeah. So next up, we'll talk about gaining favor in Arceus. So I think it's pretty bad because you can do necromancy for 100% favor, but that's what is that 60 you have to have. So I don't the book collecting, like there should be something else, or at least more books. You know what I mean? Like at least add more lore to Arceus if you're gonna make us collect books for like freaking
Yeah,
ever.
maybe buff the runecraft. I mean the rune essence mining, like how fast you actually gain approval from that, because it's super slow.
Is that mining? Is that like a rune essence mine, or is that the essence chunks that we're talking about?
The essence chunks, like 0.6% favor for a full inventory when I did it. It
I
takes
think
quite a while to mine a full inventory.
right. I think a good idea. I was talking to Ash, and he said, I was talking to him about how you can't bank the essence chunks or whatever anymore before you chisel them, and he said that you were able to originally, but he changed it because he thought it was stored XP. But when you think about it, for record, for records, basically, that's the only concern. People would just have to properly prepare to make a record,
Yeah,
which means mining a bunch of essence and then banking it. So I think if even at 0.6% favor per inventory of essence, I think that's perfectly fine if it's bankable, because then it's kind of like Lova King where you're getting your favor while you're preparing to make dynamite and you're using dynamite for the 100% favor activity. So I think it would work out in that way, and that would be a good way to make favor, getting favor not as bad within House Arceus for sure.
yeah, sure. That actually gives a reason for you to be doing it instead of the XP waste and grinding, like to get to content. Otherwise, like, there's no point to do that. Like, you're just mining a renaissance stone for no gain, really.
Yeah, because I would assume you just drop them afterwards, right?
No, you just talk to a person, it empties your inventory and gives you the favor.
Oh,
So you talk to the person and
so
then
you don't,
mine it again. It's super AFK, but
yeah, But you don't get a
It
favor
takes
for
forever.
mining it, right? You get favor for turning it in.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so they should definitely do it where it's like sulfur, where you mine it for blast mining, but it gives you a little bit of favor for, until you actually get to blast mining.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
All right. And now we're gonna talk about Piscarius. This is the house that I have like the less, kind of not as much knowledge on. So, I only wrote down fishing and thieving discussion basically. Do you think the fishing method's fine how it is? I think it's 300k profit an hour and 20k XP an hour.
99, probably.
Yeah, at 99. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the XP rate should be buffed to at least like 30k and maybe give it like 23 HP per food. Give it like some sort of like over all the other 22 HP foods. Oh, no, do something to it because I feel like it's gonna be dead content pretty soon, except for bots.
While we're on the discussion of the fishing, what are they called? Anglerfish, anglerfish. While we're on
Anglerfish, yeah.
the discussion of them, I found out because you had said on the last podcast that cooking you can one tick cook anglerfish for like 2.3 mil XP an hour. Well, it turns out that you can cook any fish one tick. And that was a like a with Zeah. That was with a Zeah
Yeah,
release.
that's what I
So
thought.
yeah, so like Zeah release basically made it to where you can one tick cook anything. And Ash seemed extremely like casual about it. Cause somebody asked him on Twitter and like why it was like that, and he said, well, it looks like this piece of code got removed on the interface basically, and everyone was like, well, like are you gonna fix it as a bug? And he was like, well, nobody really complained about it before, so I'm more inclined to put it back. But he wasn't like, oh, this is really serious, this is like gonna affect the game majorly. um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that? It's there related a little bit. So like, I thought it was kind of weird, really.
Don't you have to kind of abuse AHK to use it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I feel like it should be nerfed, honestly. It is really too good. And abuse it with AHK, and AHK is legal. Too good. OP.
I just thought it was really weird how Mod Ash was so like the tweet he sent out. He didn't sound concerned at all. It was almost, I don't know. It was really disturbing, especially if you can one to cook anything. I guess he might not have understood the XP rates that people are getting because nobody mentioned it to him. He just said
Yeah,
everyone just said, "Oh well, you can one tick everything." I don't think he understands cooking is like 2 mil an hour right now with the proper AHK script. So maybe that's why he was kind of more casual about it.
exactly.
But moving on, so yeah, definitely I think buffing the XP per hour a little bit would be good for fishing. Um, what about the thieving stuff? I heard it's like just super bad and terrible and not worth your time at all.
Yeah, I didn't heard anything about it. It's so bad, apparently.
Yeah, apparently it's to gain favor, and I guess like these gangs spawn or something, and you kill them or maybe you thieve from them. Like I really don't even know what it's about, so I can't say much on it. I just heard it's horrible, like money an hour and XP an hour and stuff, so it's not worth that at all. Um, I think I'm
Oh yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah. I saw a friend's video on that.
Oh, what is
Um,
it?
apparently, like you get intel that a gang is spawning. I don't know. I don't know if it was for. I think it was for Shazian actually, not for Piscarilius. But you get
Oh, that's
info that
different.
the
That's
gang is
different. That's
spawning in
different.
Piscarilius.
Oh, wait,
Isn't it?
what?
They spawn in Piscarilius though. They spawn in Piscarilius,
No, okay,
and then you kill them there.
I went to Piscarilius and I saw the gang there and they were Shazian guards or whatever, but you could only attack them. you can't talk to them. So I was like, well, that's really weird. Um,
Yeah,
so is it tied into Shazian or is it tied into Piscarilius?
I think it's tied into Shazian.
Interesting. But it's just located in Piscarilius.
Yeah,
Well, regardless, I think it's a
my
shit.
knowledge at least.
Yeah, I think it's shit to my knowledge. So, which isn't much, but I just heard everybody complaining about how bad it is, so they should buff that for sure. I think
It's supposed to be like 150k like every time you do it, but it's like a 20 or 30-minute wait until it happens every time. So only like 300k an hour. It's kind of shitty.
it's 300k XP an hour or GP.
No, cash GP.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, that is kind of bad. So you can only do it every 30 minutes though, and do you know how long it takes?
No, it takes like 20 to 30 minutes for them to show up at that area. I don't know how often you can do it. I didn't really pay attention that much, but I realized it was kind of shitty.
Well, if you can do that, like say you can do, say it takes like 5 minutes to do the event when it shows up. If you do that in hand with fishing, I don't see that as too bad, really. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a farm run for thieving.
Yeah, but you need to be there at the exact time, I think. And someone can't like go there and snipe you from them. They can go there and snipe you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I guess it needs reworking. I haven't really looked into it too much, so I can't really say too much. But it sounds like it needs reworking based on everybody else's feedback. Next up is Hasidius. I think Hasidius might be my favorite house just because of the environment. Like, there's a lot more NPCs in Hasidius that feel like they actually have like character and like a background and stuff. So I kind of like Hasidius a
Yeah.
lot. Um, Gaining favor though there was kind of really horrible. Like you can, okay, so you can push the plow, which takes a while, and then after that you can buy compost and saltpetre and make the fertilizer, and the lady withdraws it from your
Peter.
bank. So it's not
Saltpeter.
it's it's saltpetre.
Saltpeter. Almost positive.
No, Petri. Isn't that like an oil? Petri?
Petrol.
What?
Petrol.
Petrol. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Fuck off, dude.
Yeah,
We're
it's
over it.
petrol. Yes.
It's potassium nitrate. Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Anyways, but basically, damn, what were we talking about? Yeah, so you can take that and compost and make like the fertilizer, and you can buy all that, so that's pretty cool. And then you just make it, and you just take like you can take one to her, and she'll take it all out of your bank. So it's a pretty fast way to gain favor, but it kind of feels like kind of artificial, I guess. I don't know. I wish you could actually like train farming while gaining favor with House of Sidious. So like you actually plant seeds in these fields that are so empty. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing too. Like these fields are absolutely empty. Like what are they
Yeah.
contributing to Corrend if the fields are just dirt? Like
That's what that book was going over, wasn't it? That you did the Rocktail reading or whatever. Guy saying that he can plant the fields and like actually feed everybody, but they won't let him. Is that what he was talking about?
no, I think the book that I read was set back a little bit. Um, I mean, I don't know, maybe actually. I just know that it was talking about yeah, he was going up to like this council or whatever, and the council I guess controlled Corrend, and he like yeah, he was in House of Sidious. He was like the king. He was
They have like a
Sidious the
crop limit.
fourth,
Yeah.
and then so yeah, he was talking about how he had like he could grow enough food to stop the famine, but I don't think there's a famine going on, is there? I don't I don't see anything like that. So I think this was set in the
Like there's
past.
nothing planted. I mean, like
Plus like in the book he was talking about how you can fuck, what was he talking about? Oh yeah, like all the houses agreed to give up part of their land for farming, and that's why I think Hasidius is like so big and expansive because the other families probably gave up some of their land for it maybe. um I mean, regardless
Uh,
though, those
it's
fields
all in
are,
one corner though, so it doesn't make sense.
I, I guess, but the fields are empty is the main point. Like, it just feels stupid, like sitting there plowing them the whole time for favor, and you can never plant anything there.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe give us like a different farming mini game to actually gain favor with. Like we plow the field, plant something, water it, pick it, and then like go deposit it somewhere. Just something like not plowing an empty field of dirt. Like I don't know, just some engagement.
Yeah, it feels retarded
Maybe
to
like
like,
having other people required, just so there's like a world of like interaction between people getting their favor up. That might not be bad. Yeah, that might not be a bad thing.
yeah, it was definitely weird. Like, you're in a plowed field already, and then you're pushing a plow, plowing a plowed field, sorry, and then you're turning the thing around and you're plowing the plowed field that you just plowed. And like that's it. Like you never
And you're like,
plant
yep, I'm done
anything.
with that. I'm never going back there again.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, they definitely should rework that cuz again, it makes it feel so like just just so odd and awkward. Like, it ruins the whole feel of Zay in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not completely fleshed out like all the concepts. I feel like it's just like random little tasks to gain favor that don't really add anything to the game except time wasting. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
Like, I don't know, if I was actually farming the field, I might feel like I'm doing something, you know what I mean? So it would add something for me, where it's like I'm not just sitting there and plowing a plowed field. Field, damn it, I keep saying field.
Or get like decent XP from it. Like I don't know, don't get 100K from it, but maybe 50K an hour or 40K an hour, just so it doesn't feel like you're wasting your time completely. I
Yeah.
think it gives you a little bit of XP, doesn't it?
Yeah, okay. It's like 2 XP for per favor you gain, I think. It's just so dumb. It doesn't even make sense. It's so bad. And not only that, though, another thing that bothers me is that it's random how you gain favor. So I was trying to do, like, for the video that I'm making for Hasidius, I was trying to figure out, like, how frequently they give you favor, but it literally seems completely random. From like 3 pushes to 6 pushes, you might gain some favor, but you might not. So I don't know. It's completely random on how it works. It's kind of annoying, and you do gain farm
That's weird.
XP, but it's nothing like special. It really isn't. It's like 2 XP. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Like, what's their thought process behind tasks to gain favor? Like, I can see some of them, like the cooking mini game. They just thought that'd be fun for some reason, I guess. Like, does that give any? I think it gives some cooking XP actually. But why didn't they design more things like that?
Well, a flaw with the cooking minigame is that it's useless to do. Like, because of the fact that you can buy the supplies for the fertilizer, it's, in my opinion, it's just worth it to spend the money to get 100% favor faster. Because making fertilizer is like making serum 207s, I think, or maybe it's
Yeah,
Sam.
it's not that though. I'm not I'm not trying to say like that it's faster. It actually has a purpose. Just like design things that are like they have a reason for being there. Like the cooking mini game actually has a reason for being there because it's a cooking mini game and it gives you XP and stuff. But just making compost out of salt beer and compost and giving it to a lady for a favor that gives you nothing, it seems kind of pointless.
Yeah, I see what you're
You know what I
saying.
mean? Like
Yeah.
there's no goal behind it really.
Well, I don't know, because I do know one thing is that when you turn in the fertilizer. She says she needs 2,000. So kind of curious what happens if you turn on 2,000. Like, does something you can do like a new activity or something? I don't really know. I haven't seen anything on it, but it doesn't make sense to me that you would only be able to turn in 2,000 because I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2,000 would give you uh 10. Yeah, 2,000 is like way too many fertilizer, I think, to for it would be way more than 100% favor basically. So I'm curious if like if you give her 2,000 if
Yeah, I
there's
don't
like
even
a
think it
new.
does anything either.
So like do you just that's it? She's like, "Sorry, no more fertilizer. We're good."
Yeah, I guess like I, unless someone has something about that, because like I haven't heard anything about it. If it's something good, someone would have done. Someone would have posted on Reddit about it and said that, oh, if you give her this much compost, it unlocks something. But we said anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting, I guess, but yeah, I think generally speaking, like as you said, cooking minigame it feels in place because you're feeding soldiers. Um, that makes sense. It feels like you're actually doing something. I think it should be buffed a little bit so that's actually worth doing, but it would probably feel a lot
Yeah,
better than like, again, plowing a plowed field. So, um, so
and
there's
then
that.
getting compost to put in the plowed field to grow nothing.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
there's no like continuity like with this stuff. It's just like random stupid ass tasks you're doing like that do nothing to like I don't know. There's no storyline you're progressing or anything. It's just stupid tasks.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we already talked about the minigame telly and the issues with that. The spirit tree, I think it's pretty cool how I don't know. It's a nice feature, I guess. Because you can just get the 35% favor and then grow it and then drop favor and it's fine. You can still use it. So I guess it was a nice feature, but
Yeah,
it
that's cool.
um like, I don't know. It doesn't like it kind of feels out of place, I guess, because there's already three teleports now on House of Sidious, so it feels like they just placed that there to place it there.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's there's variety to it, I guess. There's spirit trees on the main continent. Why not link it
Yeah. Um,
or give it a different like spirit tree thing?
it just kind of feels out of place just in my opinion. I mean, I think it's good to, as you said, like it adds variety. It's kind of like, it kind of gives it like a flow. It kind of gives Zeta a little bit more of a flow because it has things we're familiar to, but at the same time, it's like all new stuff. So it kind of does add to the flow, but it at the same time, it kind of feels out of place to me. Um, what about the patches? So before we get into this, the when you have 100% favor, I think, then your allotments are supposed to protect 100% of the time, but apparently it protects everything, including the compost bin.
So it protects your herbs also.
Yeah, at 100% favor, it does.
Are they gonna patch that or is it intended?
No, and no, in the original design, it was only supposed to protect allotments, and it still is only supposed to protect allotments. I tweeted Kieran about it, and I told him that it protects everything, including the compost bin. You can tell because of the geomancy spell, basically. Um, so
Yeah.
it just seemed kind of weird because it is only supposed to protect the allotments. So I don't know if they're gonna patch it or what they're gonna do. Uh, it's not. I don't think it's overpowered, but it's just weird, I guess, because it wasn't supposed to be like that. So
Yeah. I wish more houses had effects like that are actually useful. So I don't know, Lova King has nothing like actually useful for when you're playing RuneScape, besides like blast mining, I guess, but really underwhelming.
Yeah.
Daisy and really doesn't have anything either.
Yeah. What are the Tiv minigame in Hesidius? I think first off, I will say that the watering can requiring charges apparently is fucking stupid. Like, just bottom line is just so
Yeah,
stupid.
it's horrible.
Um, and then on top of that, they're gonna add the new seed box, which probably pretty useless. And then what was the other thing that they're gonna add?
Um, Grapes was
Yeah,
the other thing,
they're gonna
honestly.
add grapes. I'll look it up. Yeah, they're gonna add the grape house, which is pretty cool. And then they're also gonna add the XP outfit. So that'll be pretty cool to get, I guess, one time just to have it.
Oh yeah,
If it
yeah.
looks pretty cool. Dude, I actually okay, now we're talking about I actually hope it looks like the RS3 one. I really do.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one looks good.
It looks so good. Holy crap. That would be actually really fun. I would love to get that just for Fashion Scape.
Maybe give Lova King one for smithing. Like I don't think smithing has one to right now, do they?
No, and that would be cool too if it looked like the RS3 one in my opinion with the blast shield or whatever as the
Like the
helm.
face shield.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. That would be actually pretty cool. Um,
Like give that
so,
to blast mining maybe.
um, yeah.
Or something. No, it doesn't fit with blast mining because it's smithing, but I don't think you should have to smith shitty armor to unlock it. That'd be crappy.
Do you think the Tith minigame has any rewards that should be added to it?
Um, Not especially. Maybe like a farming multi-tool, like a rake, spade, seed dibber, trowel, like all those stuff, all that stuff in one. That could be kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think farming. I don't know. At least thinking off the top of my head, I don't see anything that farming can really use. Um, I think that's. I think they're pushing it to its max potential
Maybe
pretty much.
like a new seed or something that you can only buy with minigame points.
What would it be used for?
I don't know.
Are there any pots? Maybe like a juju farming minigame. You know what I mean? Like add the seeds to
Maybe
like.
like yeah, yeah. Each seed is like however many points is good amount of points. For like an hour's worth of work and give them good effects. And then you can give like random resource spawns on Zeah. Gives the secondaries. Or give lizard men the drops of secondaries. I don't know. Just like bring it together with content. Don't just have random pieces of the content.
Yeah. Um, so that's pretty much it, I think, for House Sidious. House Lova King uh, doesn't. Yeah, I mean, as you said, it doesn't offer too much. I think you pretty much spend, 0 to 100%. You make 500 dynamite, if I did the math correctly, and you'll have 100%, including mining sulfur. And then you can go blast mine. I think blast mining should be either low XP and high GP, like an alternative to rune mining, or low GP. Well, no, I still feel like it should be high GP and stay kind of low XP,
Yeah.
honestly.
I posted on this one guy's thread saying that should be like probably 450k to 750k an hour. So it's better than Motherlode Mine in profit, but lower than Runite, but also give decent XP because it's not AFK like Motherlode Mine, so give it about the same XP as Motherlode Mine. I feel
Yeah,
like that'd be pretty balanced and
I
give people
think
incentive to do it.
I think one of the things that the team needs to realize in balancing blast mining is the preparation time that it takes, which is a lot of time, especially if you mine your own saltpeter, as you want to call it. Um, I think I mean, there is a lot of preparation time behind blast mining, and I don't think the team really took that into account when it came to balancing the GP per hour and stuff. So they definitely need to readdress that. And as you said, I think a good alternative would be between runite mining and motherlode mine, and then maybe have a little bit more XP than motherlode mine because it's not AFK at all. Um, and I also think a smithing outfit added there would be pretty cool as well, since we don't have one, and really just for fashionscape reasons. I don't think they have like a point system though, and they don't have nuggets or anything as far as I'm aware, like Motherlode Mine does. So maybe just I guess you would turn in the
Oh,
dirty ore for the reward of the outfit.
maybe maybe they should rework the armor or do some different type of mini game for that, and they can unlock it through there. But I don't know. I feel like the current smithing mini game isn't really indicative for outfit unlocking. Like it's smith a set of armor and like run to the person and give them the armor. I think.
Okay, so you're saying have the smithing outfit come from the smithing activities within Lova King and not blast mining?
Yeah, if it came from blast mining, I feel like it doesn't really fit with smithing.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. My problem with making the armor is it's the same armor that you get from Shazian, so I don't know. It doesn't. It's just weird. I think they should definitely just completely rework how the smithing minigame works because right now it's just it seems kind of again like artificial and it doesn't flow very well with the area, I guess.
Yeah, maybe buff the armor and not make it completely cosmetic. Like give it some sort of niche role for peers or defense levels. Like maybe if you have 80 smithing, make a set that's as good as adamant, but you can wear it at 20 defense. Or at 90 smithing, it's as good as rune, and you wear it as 20 defense. I don't know. So smithing kind of has a play on armor on defensive levels. Like heroes should build their smithing up so they can wear good stuff. I don't know. Kind of like an overload concept for
Yeah,
herb lore.
yeah. Yeah, I just not too happy with the smithing part of it, and it's mostly because right now it's really you only do it for favor, because the gear, as far as I know, it's not tradable, so there's no point in making gear because, as I mentioned in my guide video, like it's pretty much what you should do is prepare for blast mining while you're getting up to blast mining because there's no reason not to. There's no reason for you to go and like gain favor another
Yeah,
way because you'll have to gain, you know, favor past 100% anyways if you continue to blast mine. And that's the only reason that you're going to be at House Lova King as far as I'm aware. I mean, there's no other point in gaining favor in that house unless you just want to for some reason. Um, so I think they should definitely kind of redo the whole smithing aspect of House Lova King. I think the rocks look pretty freaking cool, like the red and the bars too when you smith
yeah,
them. I haven't seen the process of smithing them, but I'm assuming it has something to do with that giant furnace that you teleport to with the Zurich's amulet. Um, but I definitely think there's some other things they could do with it. I mean, hell, if they added the that idea we were talking about earlier with the gates of Kourend. Um, I'm sure you could throw smithing in there somewhere where you like smith, or not even smith, maybe you just pour like molten lava in the gates basically to kind of strengthen them a little bit, and you would maybe that could be like a mini game within
Yeah, you just
itself.
keep repairing the gates, and then you could like make weapons and armor and stuff to supply soldiers, something like that. Just get a fun mini game
Yeah,
of
it yeah.
smithing a set of armor and running it to a person.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so Lova King, not too bad, but definitely could be addressed in some different ways. And then lastly, we're gonna talk about Shazian. Um, they're gonna update with the new Lizard Man that drops the Dragon Warhammers. That's pretty cool. I kind of hope they take off that idea of the Gates of Kourend and make it so that the area actually flows. I hope they don't just like throw the lizard man in a cave, in that pit or whatever they want to call it. I guess it could potentially make sense if there was a cave there and maybe it like goes around like under the mountain and then out on the outside of Kourend. That would kind of make sense, but I feel like the way that one guy designed it is a lot. It would kind of flow a lot better in my opinion. It would actually make it feel like they're actually at war.
Yeah, like like I said for the other stuff, it doesn't fit with anything. It's just like a piece of content pasted into there. Doesn't really go with anything else. But I feel like adding the mini game like that, um, connecting with us above it, smithing the stuff, kind of connect them. But I feel like yeah, it should be kind of a tunnel, just going under the mountain or something instead of what are they even gonna do for that? Honestly, are they gonna have people like just higher level lizard men for you to kill for the Dragon Warhammer, or is it gonna be a boss? Like, because I feel like they could have a boss layer, or they could just have another huge room of lizard men that are slightly a higher
I feel
level.
like I feel like
I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
be like dwarven. What are they called? The dwarfs that you killed for the dragon pickaxe. I think it's gonna be something like that. I really do.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Maybe you can go into their lair more, like into the mountain, and then like there's a room deep inside that you can go and kill the people for Dragon Warhammers. Just give some lore behind it. Like, why are they dropping Dragon Warhammers? Maybe they stole it from Lova King because they were smithing them or something like that, and they are keeping them under the mountain. They broke into their storeroom or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Um.
give it some lore.
Yeah.
That would
Make
make
it.
sense.
Yeah. Make it feel like it's in place instead of just placing it there because we want a dragon warhammer. Apparently, you know. So I think the updated lizard man will be good for Halshazian because right now Halshazian pretty much sucks. I think you just rush it at first for the necklace, and then after you have the necklace, you just like piss off the area because like there's no reason to be there anymore.
That's complete crap otherwise. Except for the mobs, I guess you can get planks from them. Like, that might be useful for Iron Men, maybe. Eh.
Um, so I don't know anything else that we can discuss in regards to Zay. I think we covered a bunch of stuff in this podcast. So I think we covered a majority of everything that's could
Yeah.
be fixed with Zeah. So I guess we'll go ahead and end it there, and we'll be back sometime
All
with
right.
another podcast. I don't think we have any immediate ideas for a podcast, so um, maybe just with like the next dev blog or whenever we feel there's something we can talk about for a while.
Yep, sounds good.
Alrighty, so we will see you guys soon and talk to you later. Bye.